No black cats, just straight facts.
Triple P certified.
Listen, we can talk about odds all day. It doesn't matter what the odds are. It matters what's gonna happen.
Welcome back to the Perfect Play Pursuit. We are here on a break week to break down Moicano versus Saint-Denis. Moicano versus Saint-Denis. Two very exciting new fighters. September 28th. It's going to be in Paris, France. Paris, France. I don't know if it's in Paris. Guys, we're going to talk about the whole card beginning to end. We got 13 fights. We have a nice little offering, a lot of good talent on this card. And we're going to recap a little bit of UFC 306 at the Sphere. A lot to talk about today. We got plenty of time to do it. We're here early for you, as always. No days off, no break weeks. Our boy Alex over here is about to go international next week. So we're getting our picks in nice and early for you. And had a lot of exciting news coming off the heels of UFC Noche, Riyadh, Sphere, so many different names. Lots to talk about. Dan, Alex, how was your weekend? How are you doing? Dan, we'll start with you. What's going on, my man?
Doing well, broke even, which is basically like winning $1 million for me, the way my season's been going. But, regardless of the wins and losses here, I am personally doing well. Eagles stunk it up last night. I'm sure we'll talk about that. All-time choke job. But, what can you do? That's sports, Alex, you're going international. What is the deal with that? Can you get into some detail without doxing yourself or being too personal?
I'm going to a wedding in Europe. What do you want me to say? I'm Mr. Worldwide. I'm Mr. International. Ironically enough, the UFC plans around my schedule. They made sure not to have any fights this weekend. They waited till I come home to have on another show. I really appreciate that. Dana White, Uncle Dana, Hunter Campbell. Can't thank you enough. I will have not a worry in the world. I will be living it up in Europe. Call me Emily in Paris. Is that the thing?
That's the thing. Are you actually excited to go, or do you find it to be a major inconvenience?
I am excited to go, and I will be a lot more relieved once I am there. Once we get through all the hurdles, once I touch down, once I land, and I know that everything is taken care of from there on out, I will be feeling a lot better. But we got to get there first, buddy.
How long's the flight?
I think it's only like 7 hours.
Very cool. Yeah, you're going to Europe, so is the UFC. Next time they'll be there. They'll be in Paris. And we just had UFC at the Sphere. I have a lot of thoughts about it. I watched the fights. I enjoyed a lot of them. I thought it was a pretty good card. My big play, the big bet that I made on the night was on Ronaldo Rodriguez and Diego Lopez. So I actually went a little heavy on that. I put $200 to win 518.69. That hit, but it was not without, at least in the Ronaldo Rodriguez fight, a little bit of anxiety. I got to say, man, I would have stopped that fight. I would have stopped the fight when he went down in that first round. That was a crazy-ass fight. Kind of had it a draw by the end, maybe if you gave Ronaldo 10-8. Was not feeling all that confident, but sometimes, hey, I've been on enough situations where the fight stopped too early or the refs screw me to where I felt like this one was even Stevens for me. It was good to see him get the win because that was the first leg of my parlay. I was utterly and totally confident in Diego Lopez, and he made that fight as easy for me as the Ronaldo Rodriguez one was hard by almost doing the same thing to Ortega as what happened to Ronaldo in the first round. He almost knocks out Brian Ortega. Now, the only thing that was a little bit bittersweet about it is because I had two parlays, 200 to win 518 and then 75 to win like 500 something. I think it was let me see, 75 for 330. So Ronaldo Rodriguez and Diego Lopez by finish. So, man, when he dropped Ortega in that first round, I was sitting there yelling at my TV. I'm like, let him up, let him up, let him up, let him up. Diego, let him up. I mean, he was playing, in the guard and just letting Ortega recover. These refs give Ortega a lot of leeway, but they gave Ronaldo a lot of leeway too. So I couldn't really be all that upset. Once that fight went down, I was basically at break even because I had way too much money, in hindsight, invested on Raul Rosas Jr. by finish or some combination of that. Like 30. I had a 4-leg parlay. I had some parlays with Ronaldo Rodriguez Jr. by finish. I think all in all, it was like $120 or something, just in combinations of Rodriguez Jr. by finish with other bets included. So, that was a bit disappointing. Couldn't even listen to that kid's post-fight interview the way he performed. That was terrible. Not a fan anymore at all. And then the other kind of plays that went awry for me. So I had a 4-leg parlay. It was 77 to win 619. That was Ronaldo Rodriguez, Diego Lopez, Alexa Grasso, and Merab. So I would have, if Grasso would have won, I would be way in the money right now. I'd be completely fine. But it is what it is. That fight, I'm going to be completely honest with you, I fell asleep during it. In and out of sleep during that. I was on the couch. I had some beers by that point. I was some high noons, I should say. And I was, that was really disappointing the way she got taken down so easily. And I kind of predicted it on the show where I said, Shevchenko is the petty queen. If Israel Adesanya is the bitter, petty god, bitter, petty king, Valentina is so bitter, and she's such a wicked witch. And if anybody could have done that, it was her. And, the one thing that gave me a little bit of nervousness was like, okay, she was such a heavy favorite in that first fight. She was a slight heavy. She was I think she was a favorite in the second fight. And anytime you kind of see that in the betting world, where it's like they had her as a minus 700 favorite, she loses. And then the second one goes to a draw. And now she's an underdog. You want to always kind of be on the other side of that action. Only thing is, I was kind of the stat that kept coming to my mind was what they always would say: when you rematch fighters for a championship title, the younger fighter wins and more dominantly. That's the kind of thesis, right? And she trains with Diego Lopez. He looked really good. He's been looking good. So I don't know. I kind of thought she might have Valentina's number, and it might go similarly. I had flashes in my mind of her dropping Valentina, flashes in my mind of her out grappling Valentina. In a million years, I didn't think Valentina was going to come out and wrestle her the entire time. So that's on me. Just got to kind of eat that one. But I would be, if Grasso could have got it done, I would have been fine. Definitely should have just hedged, on Valentina. But like I said, I was kind of in a tired state by the time that happened. And I just was so much adrenaline up and down with the Ronaldo Rodriguez, with Diego almost finishing Ortega, right? I mean, it was just so much up and down adrenaline that I just was kind of and Dumont, right? Dumont was another big play that I had. And I loved that performance. She was fucking amazing. That cut she opened up on Aldana was epic. One of the worst cut, I will say it on record, the worst cut I've ever seen. The only ones that kind of compare in my mind are like Diego Sanchez, BJ Penn. Very hard.
Rodriguez's skull.
Yeah, who?
Gregory Rodriguez's skull, RoboCop.
Yeah. But hard to really even.
Robbie Lawler lip.
Yeah.
Alistair Overeem lip.
Yeah, but that one, so dangerous, like split by the eye like that. It was crazy. So
she almost lost half of her face.
Oh, and then the other one that really tore me up and that I lost some good money on. I lost definitely, like, I'm looking here. I lost over 200 on Miguel Torres.
Yeah. Parlay killer for me as well.
And I kind of hedged on Bahamundez by decision because it was plus 600 for him to win by decision. And I know that Torres is a first round kind of guy. So I was like, well, if he can't finish Iggy in the first round, and Iggy's been training with Bilal, helping him get ready for Leon, I thought he was going to have much more of a point fighting kind of style and approach, to this fight. I thought if he does win, it's by decision, and plus 600 is too good to pass up. So I put a couple parlays together with Iggy Bahamundez by decision, and I'll give you one. Ready? $50 to win $1,850. Iggy by decision, Rodriguez, Lopez, and Merab, 4-leg parlay. So if Torres could have at least survived that fight and just lost the decision, I'd have $1,800 right there. But hey, it doesn't matter if it's by an inch or a mile. It's and it was by a mile. He got dropped twice, knocked the fuck out, And moreover, what pissed me off about Torres is that he's shelled up, curled up, and just looked like a bitch. You know what I mean? That's not what we've seen from Torres. He shelled up and just was very fetal position-y. You know what I mean? You never like to see that, especially from a Mexican warrior like Manuel Torres on such a historic night for Mexico.
Historic 2-7 night for Mexico.
Yeah. But
is that what it was? Oh my God.
I believe Raul Rosas Jr. and
Rodriguez.
Oh yeah, Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lopez is an honorary Mexican in my mind. Who really can tell me? But hey, the one thing I did get right, which I saw a stat that only 17% of bettors were picking Merab to win. I was in that 17%. I came on here the first episode, the early predictions episode we did for 306. We Triple B certified Sugar Sean O'Malley. We came back a week before the fight, and I un-Triple B certified him. I said no, and I really predicted it exactly how it went. We'll start here, guys, for the recaps for you guys, then you can take us through the card for you. But Merab, I came here. I told you guys that this is Leon versus Bilal. This is one of those situations where the UFC is going to lose one of their darlings. They're going to lose one of their golden boys. They're going to end up with a situation that with a wrestler kind of upsetting the crowd. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, the co-main and the main event for the crowd in attendance, you paid all that money. They must have been very disappointed because a lot of them were rooting for Sugar Sean. A lot of bettors were picking Sugar Sean. I told you guys Aiden Ross was going to go down. I told you guys all those bettors picking Sugar Sean were going to go down. And Merab, same thing as Valentina, stubborn, bitter, chip on his shoulder. Biggest moment for him, not the biggest moment for Sugar Sean. Everything to gain for Merab, everything to lose for Merab. Not much to gain, not much to lose for Sugar Sean. You got to look at these main events in that light sometimes, where Sugar Sean has fallback options, fight options, alternative streams of income. It was good. I liked to see it. You know what I mean? I liked to, not so much that I hate Sugar Sean, but I'm really starting to not like Tim Welch. He's getting a little bit in the same way that Faraz Zahabi, I started out liking him a lot, and he kind of fell from grace with his just sniffing of his own farts and just really becoming a YouTuber and so much of a, an advice guy and a tell you how to live your life guy. And my word is the final word on everything kind of guy on his, I used to watch all of his Ask Me Anythings and his Q&As and his YouTube takes and stuff. I love Faraz, but he just grew to be so tiresome, as so many of these people who put too much of themselves out there do. And Tim Welch is kind of going down that same route, where getting a little too big for his britches, getting a little too ego driven, and then the whole thing with, talking to Aljo, talking shit to Merab, just being real bitchy to these fighters and real girly and shit talky. It's not what you want to see from a head coach. You want the head coaches to be like the Greg Jackson, the John Danaher, the guys who focus on their fighter, And when things started to unravel for him and Sean, they unraveled quick, and he had not much to say in that corner. His advice to Sugar Sean was, you could hear it in his voice. He knew it was over from round one, round two. You could tell the disingenuousness, the babying, the diaper changing of Sugar Sean was not going well. It was very fun to watch him slowly start to realize that everything was going kaput and he did not prepare his athlete. So that's kind of my overall take. I told you guys that Merab was going to win. He did. Unfortunately for me, I was just too close to. I didn't have enough. Once Grasso lost, I wasn't willing to push all the chips to the center of the table on Merab. That's what it came down to. I should have just bet my entire bankroll on Merab and I'd be fine. But it was too much. It was exactly where Sugar Sean was. Too much. It was too much to lose, not enough to gain in that part. I was like, let me live to fight another day versus in my tired, sleepy, drunken state, making a desperate decision to just bet $600, $700 on Merab. I might have done that in the past, but if I knew it was a break week, I definitely would have done it. If I knew I didn't actually have a fight to bet on this weekend, I would have done it. But I just was like, you know what? Let's just enjoy this fight. Let's just watch this fight. We lost a couple $100 all in all, but we had some wins. Let's just kind of see how this plays out and have it be a learning fight. If Merab was a big time underdog, like some of the guys we picked, like Bilal, like Strickland over Izzy, it would have been a different story. But it was just it was too much of a mystery. Too much. I did think Merab was going to win, but there was just too much that could go wrong in my mind at that point in the night, and I didn't want to taste that bitterness of waking up on Sunday morning having lost everything by pushing all the chips to the center of the table. Wasn't enough to gain. So I'll hit a big swing. I'll be fine. But what were your guys' kind of overall takes?
Lost a fair amount of money. I had one last desperation shot at the end. It was Merab by sub. It would have won me $10.50. That would have been huge. Or $1,050. But alas, every time he got him in that front headlock position, I was like, there's a chance. But Merab would never go for a submission or do anything exciting ever. So alas, nothing to show for it. You see my total there. Wasn't a good night for you, boy.
Like I said, the card was not good. It was boring. I fell asleep multiple times. I mean, listen, we got to touch upon this fight. The Zellhuber and Ribovic fight, all-timer. Like, if that had any implication on it as a fight, you'd be talking about it as an all-time fight.
Same with Van and Charez. Amazing fight.
Missed it. Sorry. Maybe I'll go back.
Wait, it was an all-time or what in terms of being
It was like an amazing fight. It was so fun to watch. It went back and forth.
Yeah.
The comeback in the third.
Yeah.
But didn't put him away. So, yeah, super, super fun fight. That might have saved the night for me. I mean, Valentina, we called her or Luke just did, the Wicked Witch. And I think that's why she doesn't serve water at practices. She's afraid of the water.
Yeah. I'm melting.
Yeah. So, yeah, super boring fight there. To say I watched the main event would be a false statement. I mean, I was zonked. It was so boring. And yeah, the visuals were cool for about 5 minutes, and then I got used to it because I wasn't there, and so it just me and Shab are on the same page. So that gives me some strong confidence that I am on the right track here with this thought.
It's like, oh, that's your takeaway?
That's my takeaway.
Well, what did Shab say?
He was just like, yeah, you guys paid for the Sphere, which you weren't even at, and it was a dog shit card. And then the UFC was gambling on Valentina and Grasso and Sean O'Malley and Merab, and they lost big time. They're horrible fights. So everyone got screwed. It wasn't good. They should never do this again.
I agree with you in the sense that, look, I thought it was interesting, novel, but ultimately, if you ask me would I want to see that again, no. The answer is no. I could definitely do without, all of it, all of the distractions, all of the, Dana White was talking about the Easter eggs. I didn't see one fucking Easter egg.
And even
not that I was looking. 25K is not enough to make me fucking sit there with my phone for the whole fight. I mean, no, it was, maybe if it was like you win 25K if you find the Easter eggs, but it's like you get to be entered into a raffle of other fucking idiots who sat there with their phone out. Speaking of sitting there with your phone out, how much of the crowd was sitting there with their phone out? Like, I would never, I don't know, man. I'm not saying I'm not addicted to this thing like everybody else. I am. I'm not saying I'm not fucking constantly on my phone like everybody else. I am, but I have the wherewithal, if I'm at a concert, if I'm at a live event of any kind, to just enjoy it, to just take it in, to just be in the moment for once. It's like you're at this Sphere. Nobody gives a fuck that you're there. Like, what is the value of like taking yourself out of this immersive experience to record it? I mean, I'm not saying if I wasn't there, I wouldn't have done 1 or 2 snapshots or pictures or something, but I'm just saying, like, the whole crowd constantly with their phones out. Pretty crazy. You're in Vegas. You could have synced up with Jones, synced up with Garcia, and got your hands on some party favors and had a really good time looking at those visuals, but instead you're staring through your phone screen. Doesn't make much sense to me. But, yeah, overall, it's fun to see the UFC's plans go awry once in a while. It's fun to see them try to do something that really isn't what we were asking for. Nobody really was asking for this, clamoring for this, begging for this. You know, they co-promote, like I said last week. They do all these things that are kind of against the core kind of values, and they do it for the, as some people are saying, as MMA Guru has said, it's like becoming a rich guy club kind of thing. And to see all the people in attendance have less of a good night while I'm at home falling asleep, I'm like, good. At least I didn't pay $1,600 for this. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I could do with. I'm glad it's a one and done. Let's say that. I'm glad it's a one and done. Give me just a good venue with good fans any day of the week. Give a London card, a Florida card, like just somewhere where the fans are going fucking off and there's implications, and you're excited about the fight that's coming up. Like, I don't know, and like I always say, pay these fighters less, man, because they're not as hungry. They have too much to pivot onto. There's not enough guys who really, really care about greatness enough to devote the time and attention it needs to be great, like a John Jones, like an Anderson Silva, like a George St. Pierre. Those days are gone. Like a BJ Penn, I mean, those days are really, really, they feel like they're gone. Ilya feels like that guy. That's about it.
If I could counter that, you started with Jones, Silva, and GSP, and they've all been accused at one point or other of being boring fighters. So the dedication might make you a little bit more boring. You got to be like Nate Landwehr. I mean, is he dedicated to being the best of all time? I don't know, but he's certainly someone I want to watch fight. A Nico Price back in the day.
No, Nico Price went to a fucking draw with Cowboy Cerrone and was hugging him and fucking kissing him.
Back in the day.
Yeah, but Nico doesn't. That's not what I'm looking for. I want guys who want to win and hate to lose. You know what I mean? Nico Price doesn't hate to lose. And here's what I'll also say: there was a fight that was going on where they were hugging it out. They were hugging it out. They were high fiving. They were dapping it up. Let me think. Who was it? It was
not Thompson Holland, right?
I don't know who it was. No. This card. There was like yeah, there was a situation that I saw on this card where I'm like, don't be fucking hugging. It might have been Raul Rosas Jr. It might have been yeah, I think it was Raul Rosas Jr.
Sounds like a Diego Lopez move.
Diego Lopez too, I mean, but he did crack Brian Ortega again in the third round. Like he was still trying to finish, I think.
Yeah, at the very least, like he'll definitely try to fuck you up.
Yeah,
even if he does hug you in the beginning.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit sick of the sportsmanship and shit like that. I need to see guys who hate to fucking lose.
I lost all faith in sports once I saw the jersey swaps. Then I was like, the days of Yankees, Red Sox, they're getting into brawls. Those are over. These guys are exchanging jerseys and signing them with notes for their kids and Well, every once in a while, if it's genuine, but it's too, everybody knows each other. Everyone's friends with each other.
You touch football is the worst of that. Football really is the fucking worst of that. I mean, give me a guy crying on the sidelines any day of the week. But nowadays, it's like, and I know it's early in the season, but it doesn't matter. I mean, guys like Michael Jordan, guys like John Jones, guys like competitive guys don't want to lose at anything. They don't want to lose at a fucking game of tic-tac-toe on the plane. Like you got guys like at the Eagles game. They show the aftermath of that Eagles game, and some of the Eagles players
are chuckling it up.
Are like chuckling it up with the fucking Falcons players. It's like, guys, this should have been a blowout. Like the Falcons shouldn't have fucking. And Sirianni is such a dumbass, dude. Like Nick Sirianni is a fucking hardo idiot. Like, listen, I like that he kind of embodies the Philadelphia spirit and all that, but it's like, okay, he's just constantly like his weird aggro-ness gets us into trouble because, okay, for first quarter, I think it was either 3-3 or 3-0, or maybe it was even 0-0. I don't know, but it's the beginning of the game. 4th and 3 at the goal line, 4th and 4, something like that, and they go for it and fail. They give the Falcons the ball. Now, part of me is like, okay, I get it. It's a new NFL. Everyone's going for it on 4th and 3 these days, right? I come from a time when I'm a kid. I remember watching the NFL as a kid. It could be 4th and inches they're punting. I mean, they would always punt. It was never even a question. And if it wasn't, yeah. So now, okay, so we're going for a little bit more. Maybe this is what we all said we wanted. That's fine. But when you end up in a situation where that field goal would have mattered, right? And then you are in a situation where the field goal only puts you up by 6, which all that does, let's go through the head coach's mind. Okay. You go for it early in the game when it doesn't fucking matter at all, but might matter later, right? Then it's at a time in the game where 7 points makes it impossible for them to win on that last drive. Impossible. Unless they hit a 2-point conversion to tie it. Touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie it at that point is what it would have been. So you're already up 3. If you go for it and score, now you're up. You would have been up 10. They would have been up 10, right? Yeah, they would have been up 10. So actually, it would have made it impossible for the Falcons to win had they just went for it and scored that touchdown. But instead, they kicked the field goal, putting them up only by 6. So it's like, okay, was your mentality that if we go up by 6, then even if they kick a field goal, we still win? Bro, if you're worried about giving them the ball back and them getting into field goal range and then them tying it, and then you're worried about overtime, that's like 4 different beta moves. Like, instead of just saying, we'll make it so that even if they go up the field and score, it doesn't matter. We'll completely take the wind out of their sails. Like, who cares if you can't stop them from going up the field, getting into field goal range, kicking a field goal and sending it in overtime, and then you can't beat them in overtime? It's like, that's like 4 concessions. That's like saying, okay, we're worried that we can't stop them from coming up the field. Worried we can't stop them from getting into field goal range and kicking a field goal. Worried then that we can't stop them in overtime. That's 3 concessions right there. Bitch ass mentality. Whereas if you just said,
well, they did go for it at the end. That was the Saquon drop.
No, they didn't go for it. They kicked a field goal on 4th at the goal line. It was like 4th and 3, and they kicked a field goal.
They did go for it once in the 4th quarter, though.
What?
They did go for it once in the 4th quarter, though, in field goal range.
So they went for it twice. It twice. And then when it actually mattered to go for it, when it's like, okay, we're up by 3. So at worst, if we blow this, like, then all that matters is they can tie it with a field goal. Mm-hmm. But at best, they can't win it at all. You know what I mean? It's like, worry about the fucking overtime at overtime. Worry about the field goal when they have the ball. Don't be thinking like that now. Go for it, get it. 3rd time's a charm. I mean, it's like, you're really going to fuck up on 4th down 3 times? Like, I don't know. It was a stupid-ass mentality and pitiful performance by Hurts, a pitiful performance by Sirianni, a pitiful performance, I'm not even going to say by Barkley because, it's like how much he can't be our Tyreek Hill. He can't be our fucking lone workhorse of the fucking season. Like, he scored 3 touchdowns in the first fucking game. Like, leave him alone. Had a lot of good plays. But for the Falcons to just, and Kirk Cousins does that shit, dude. Kirk Cousins is Mr. Clutch. Like, back when he was on the Vikings last year, right?
Dude, Kirk Cousins is known for not being clutch at all.
He is on the Vikings last year, when all the Vikings were putting
where he never won a Monday Night Football game.
When all the Vikings were putting their chains around his neck, how many different games did you see Kirk Cousins with all those chains around his neck last year because all the players
or when he was on the Redskins? You like that.
Yeah, dude, he is. Don't ever say Kirk Cousins is not clutch. Dude. He is clutch.
That was only remarkable because he had never done it before. So it's like everyone's all hype and putting gold chains on him because he's a nerd, so it's funny, but also because he never wins all that much, or at least the big games. So when it does happen, it's like, oh,
it was a come from behind.
He's regular season stud. He's regular season. He's garbage time stud. Like he'll be like, oh, top 5 in the league in yards. It's like, yeah, because you're down by 21 in the 4th, and all you got to do is throw, and they're just letting you complete the ball. So, listen. Game manager.
Ending Kirk Cousins, you don't have to be playing 3D chess here. Just say for what it is. Kirk Cousins is not a very good quarterback.
He's got a Tom Brady mentality when it matters.
He has never had a Tom Brady mentality in his life.
Kirk Cousins is akin to Tom Brady, and Daniel Lacerda.
He's never won a playoff game.
Conor McGregor, okay?
Daniel Lacerda had one of the guys that we're going to be breaking down tonight fought Daniel Lacerda and beat him, Luke. So how good is he?
He must be the next
Drum.
Khabib. All right, well, let's get into it then. Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about? I mean, Norma Dumont, she's a queen. Love her. Yasmin Uruguay, she fumbled the bag. Fucking Joshua Van. But at least Yasmin Uruguay didn't tap out. She's the shit for that. We talked about all the other fights, I think. Any other final takes on the card? Josh Van got it done. Josh Van got it done. He lost round 1. He came back and fucking started dominating. Josh Van's the man. I love
Great
Josh
fight.
Van.
Great fight.
Is that
Very fun
fight
fight.
worth watching?
Oh yeah, it was
Yeah, it was
really
a good
good.
fight. Rosas Jr. fucking sucks, dude. He sucks. Let's just say it. He like
He's just a little boy.
he's out here talking about retiring at 25. Retire now. Retire now.
He's got to
talking
get
about
his mom a house
retirement?
first.
He's like, oh, I'm going to become the youngest champion in the UFC, and then I'm going to retire. Okay, well, not with performances like that. You're not. So, gimmick guys, dude. These gimmick guys. All right, cool. So originally, there's some guys who were supposed to be on this card and are now not. Ludovic Klein remains on the card. He's taking on Roosevelt Roberts now. He was originally supposed to fight Nicholas Mata. Morgan Sherry was originally supposed to fight AJ Cunningham. Cunningham is out. Sherry now fights Gabriel Miranda. Jermaine Durandame was originally supposed to fight Nora Cornhole, but Durandame withdrew. And Nora Cornhole is now fighting
Cavalcante.
Oh yeah, Jackie Cavalcante. So it seems like a lot of these guys are afraid of the. It's funny when guys pull out and they're like, "I don't want to go to France." It's like, all right, like the UFC was trying to set you up to lose in France, and then you foiled them a little bit here. But we got some good fights to break down here. Let's start at the top with our boy Renato Moicano taking on BSD Benoit Saint-Denis.
The question is, do you think that the nationalism that happened at Mexico that reflected in poor Mexican performances will happen here in France? They get hyped up when the UFC comes to France. Could it be a little bit too much for France? Especially after the Olympics. They just had the Trans-Olympics over there.
The Sphere card wasn't in Mexico at the end of the day. It was in Las Vegas. And the crowd was a bunch of celebutants and fucking UFC fighters begging for a favor. You know what I mean? So
was it in Riyadh?
No.
it was in Vegas.
Oh, okay. Because it was sponsored by Riyadh, so
Riyadh season. I don't know what that means.
I think it means that they paid for it.
It's the boxing thing. It's the Riyadh season. Anthony Joshua is fighting Tyson Fury.
I don't get any of it. I don't like it. I'll say that much. I don't like it. I'm never go. No matter how much money they put into tourism to try to get me to go to Abu Dhabi or Dubai or any of these places, I am not going. I'm never going. I'm never going to China. I'm never going to Dubai, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, Ibiza. None of these places. None of these hip nightclub places. I'm not going. So I will go to Europe. I will go to France one day. I will go to Italy one day. I will go to Greece one day. I will go all over Europe one day. But unless Europe doesn't clean their fucking act up, because I hear from the MMA guru what's going on there, and I'm none too pleased to hear what's going on in Europe right now. So, I'm not. I would sooner go to Mexico, and they need to get their act together too. Truthfully, my grandpa, when I was a youth, when I was a long-haired hippie, they say a young man who's not a liberal has no heart, an old man that is a liberal has no brain. And I have a brain now, and I have short hair now. But when I had my heart, and when I was bleeding heart on my chest, and I had my long hair, and I was talking to my grandpa and just trying to get in his crawl and saying he needs to be more worldly, he said, "There's plenty of stuff to see right here in America." He was right. He was right, and I'm sticking in America. I'm planting my boots in this soil and defending the land I love. And that's that. So,
yeah, I'm super scared to get midsummered when I go out there for sure. That's kind of my big fear at the moment. Get dosed with a bunch of drugs and tricked into some crazy ritual.
Yeah, I fear that for you too. That's why I've told you to just keep your wits about you. If you're gonna get a wedding, you're gonna be feeling the love.
Do not take any gifts from gypsies, is what I've heard. Do not lick a gift gypsy in the mouth.
I agree with that. I think that's smart. I don't know that they like to be. I think traveler is the preferred term in this day and age, but teach their own.
Fellow traveler.
Tomato, tomato.
Hail now, fellow traveler. Okay, so Moicano versus Saint-Denis. This one's interesting. This one's real interesting. I'm surprised Moicano is taking this, to be honest with you, because he's coming off that great win against Jalen Turner. He's coming off a great win against Drew Doba. He's coming off a great win against Brad Riddell. He's on quite a tear, since that famous speech after the Brad Riddell win. He's on quite a tear, but he is 35, 7 years older than Benoit Saint-Denis. We know about the stats of 35 and up fighters at weight classes under 170. This is a main event with a 7-year gap. We know about the 6-year age gap statistics. I'm a little worried.
Matty Betts loves that statistic.
Yeah, he says it all the time.
He says it all the time. He says it incorrectly. God bless his soul.
Well,
Matty Betts. But we can't all be perfect, and Matty Betts is perfect in many ways. But saying that statistic correctly is not one of them.
Well, Moicano must not have been listening. He's too busy thinking of his next joke. He's a comedian. So I'm worried for him here, man. I think this is almost like a little bit of a momentum killer in a lot of ways, because you got Benoit Saint-Denis, who is he's not gonna, like I said about our boy Cody Durden. And I said, him coming off this knockout loss too soon is not going to be a thing, because he lacks self-preservation instincts and doesn't give a fuck about being smart. So he doesn't care. Like he's not going to be worried. Like, oh shit, I have to think about life after fighting. Doesn't think about that. Doesn't care. Benoit Saint-Denis has been, he got knocked out 6 months ago. So, 6 months is kind of a good amount of time to take off from a knockout loss. Realistically, you'd like to see that they were just getting back into training, or at least sparring after like about 6 months. But 6 months is plenty of time to heal. And he's a former troop. He's a former, paid killer. You know what I mean? What do we say? He's a elite killer. Trained by the government to kill. So I think that he's got that don't give a fuck, I don't care about my body or he has no self-preservation instincts, right? So, man, he's the god of war. I don't know. Last time I checked, I think Moicano was a bit of an underdog here, and I agree with that. I'm interested. I think that if Moicano got, now Jalen Turner is a much better striker than BSD, but BSD, like I said, doesn't give a fuck and will put him in the situations to be a good striker, right? He was beating the fuck out of Poirier for a while before he ended up getting caught. I'm picking Moicano. It sounds dirty even coming out of my mouth. There's a little voice. There's a bus driver in the back of my brain going, "What are you doing, man? Pick BSD. He's just coming off one loss. Dustin Poirier is great, and you guys know I don't think Dustin Poirier is all that great, but at the end of the day, Dustin Poirier has proven me wrong and continues to prove me wrong. I mean, you just look at his record; he has done great things. So I really can't make even a case for Dustin Poirier not being great. The Islam fight actually impressed me a little bit. So
this is crazy to hear. I can't believe I'm actually listening to this right now.
I think Dustin Poirier is a piece of shit human. I think he is but I don't like him at all. I wouldn't go up and shake his hand and act nice. I would
love the art, hate the artist.
I don't even really love his art. I think he fights like an asshole. I hate him fixing his hair and fixing his shorts and all the bullshit he does. I think he's a dork, a douchebag, a dork, whatever you want to say about him. I do not like the guy.
And I don't like his hot sauce either.
I don't like the stories he tells. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk, the way that I hate everything about Dustin Poirier. I'll bet him and Jelly Roll are friends. I hate Jelly Roll. I'll bet Jelly Roll is rooting for. I'll bet he's gonna be ringside there to watch my brother Dustin Poirier, my brother. Fuck Jelly Roll. Fuck Dustin Poirier. And if Theo Vaughn doesn't watch his manners, fuck Theo Vaughn too. I know there's a lot of fans of this show that are fans of Theo Vaughn. You got to wake up. I don't know what else to say. But Dustin Poirier has done. He's got an impressive resume in the UFC. Like, he's beaten guys. He fights on. I did not think he was going to beat BSD. I knew he was going to get submitted by Islam, but I didn't think it was going to take him till round 4 or 5. You know what I mean? So he put him
Dan,
on-
look up if giraffes are native to Kentucky.
why?
That's just my Theo Vaughn impression.
I was hanging out with Dustin Poirier, and he told me
That's really good. That was really, really good.
he told me he told me he trains with a gazelle, man. Theo Vaughn is the Family Guy seals that put the balls in to make the Family Guy jokes.
Yes.
That's Theo Vaughn. You know what I mean? You could Theo Vaughn autogen his fucking whole thing, but you could Theo Vaughn would be very easy to AI. You know, and I don't like guys who just like I don't know. Anyway, this is not the Theo Vaughn bashing hour. I'm picking Renato Moicano. I don't know how the fuck he's gonna get this done, but I didn't know how he was gonna get it done against Charlton Turner. He did, and I never know how he's gonna get it done. But he's on some sort of magic abilities right now, and I worry that this is where the buck stops. I really do worry this is where the buck stops. But give me Money Moicano, one last dance, Money Moicano, one last ride, and then we're smooth sailing from here. Then we got Patty the Batty, then we got all sorts of easier fights. But this is gonna be the last really hard fight. But my thought is, if he can get past Charlton Turner, he can get past BSD. But I don't know. I mean, BSD is really good on the ground and really willing to fucking get into a firefight that I don't. I mean, Moicano gets dropped all the fucking time, knocked out all the fucking time, you know? So it's like, how is he going to take the slugs that a hometown fucking Green Beret? I'm taking BSD. I don't know how. I don't know how Moicano gets out of this alive. I think BSD, he's a hometown French version of a Navy SEAL. He's there. He's competent as fuck on the ground. He's not going to get taken down by Moicano, I don't think. Could that be the path to victory? During one of these wild exchanges, he takes BSD down. I mean, I don't think he can do to BSD what he did to Drew Doba. You know? I think BSD's a lot, and it seemed to be hard. I don't know. I'm taking Benoit Saint-Denis just because the little voice in my head is screaming at me right now. It's saying, Luke, you know that this is not the right thing you're telling the audience. But I want to take Moicano. I love him. I love his YouTube. I love his picks. I love his personality. But I gotta listen to the voice in my head and just go with BSD.
Yeah, I'm going with BSD as well by TKO. Sorry, Matty Betts. Sorry, Money Moicano. No, I don't really care what you think, Gilbert Burns. Whatever. Whatever. I only like you because Matty Betts hangs out with you. And I know that, like, once me and Matty Betts become friends, I'm going to have to, like, act like I like you. So, yeah, BSD is just stronger, younger. I feel like he's going to be strong enough to keep Moicano off of him and competitive in all of the grappling exchanges. BSD is kind of like a jiu-jitsu specialist besides his hands. So I'm going BSD, TKO. Think he knocks Moicano out. Give him a little bit of the Aldo dust or a little bit of the Gan juice out there, and he'll be going to sleep in round 2. Hate to say, I love Moicano. No, it hurts nobody more than me to be the bearer of bad news here.
I will be as surprised if Moicano wins. I'll be more surprised than I was that Poirier beat BSD.
I wasn't surprised in that.
Honestly, I kind of want to go with Moicano here. My thought process being Saint-Denis, really good fighter because very strong, aggressive, relatively good cardio. But he's not super technical. And jiu-jitsu is the art of taking these guys who are physically stronger than you, but less technical, and winning those battles. So I kind of think I got to go with Moicano here. I was, when I'm looking at my phone, I'm looking at the stats. He had one fight where he absorbed 150 strikes, but that's from RDA. That's like the RDA playbook all the time. It can happen to anybody. But besides that, most of his fights he's ending with 35 strikes absorbed. So I don't know. He's been knocked out 3 times in the UFC, but he's fighting
at featherweight.
At featherweight, and he's fighting the who's who both at featherweight and lightweight. So I'm going to take a shot on Moicano here. I can understand him getting knocked out in front of the opponent's crowd with, BSD ridiculously powerful. But I got to trust the chin and I got to trust the jiu-jitsu. So.
Well, Dan, if it makes you feel any better, when he lost that fight to RDA, he was drinking beer and eating steaks. And
there you go.
That fight on like 8 days' notice.
I just see BSD throwing a wildly errant punch and causing this weird scramble where you find, Moicano getting on top. It's not going to be from like a straight wrestling takedown. That's not even Moicano's game, I don't think. I think it's more of like a trip guy, but that's actually beneficial because they will at one point get into the clinch. And I think BSD will get a little over aggressive, and that'll be the moment that Moicano can take advantage. So we'll see.
I mean, if not for the Poirier thing, this guy's got one loss, and it's a decision to Elizeu Zaleski. Other than that, I mean, he's a finisher guy. I mean, he's rear naked choke, guillotine, arm bar, knee bar, arm triangle, rear naked choke. Then knocks out Gabriel Miranda, chokes out Ismael Balenthiem, pounds out Thiago Moises, head kicks Matt Frevola. So it's like, I look at Matt Frevola as a Drew Dober kind of fighter. I look at Thiago Moises as a Brad Riddell style fighter, right? So it's like but better, right? So it's like these guys are similar style. They've had similar style matchups, and I think BSD has performed better. He's in his home country. He's a patriotic, nationalistic guy. I don't know what Moicano is fucking doing taking this. He should have held out for he's ranked 10. He's top 10. This guy's 12. He's fighting behind himself in the rankings. Let's see what the rankings at lightweight right now. Who could he have gotten that would have been a better matchup for him, right? Okay. He wouldn't fight Charles DuBronx at number 2. I think he should have tried getting a Justin Gaethje. I think he should have tried getting Dustin Poirier. I think he should have tried getting Dan Hooker. I think he would have had better odds against Mateus Gamrot. I think that Benel Dariush is a better fight for him. A rematch against Fiziev, coming off a knockout loss and another loss. And then that's it. That's everybody who's in front of him, right? So, why is he going to number 13, Benoit Saint-Denis, when he's number 10? Patty the Batty's one spot behind BSD at 14. Everyone's trying to make that fight, including Patty and Moicano. And it's like, when two guys want to fight and the UFC's not giving it to you, it's like, why? And I think it's because they think Moicano would beat him. And I think if Moicano loses here, Patty is still going to be calling for the fight, But I don't think, and he might be more likely to get it. He might be more likely to get it because he'll slide down a little bit in the rankings, and it kind of puts that fight together even more. So I don't know why this fight's happening, to be honest with you. It's an exciting fight. It's going to be good, but if I'm Moicano's manager, I'm not taking this fight, Just like if I was Joe Selecki's manager, I wouldn't be taking this fucking fight in Paris either. You know what I mean? And I was nervous as fuck for Joe Selecki against Benoit Saint-Denis in Paris, even though Benoit was the one who pulled out, I think, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we saw Joe Selecki pulls guard, and this guy smashes people, and he's good at jiu-jitsu. I don't see Joe submitting Benoit Saint-Denis. So what does that tell you? I think Joe gets TKO'd by Benoit Saint-Denis.
Disrespect.
Joe Lasaki.
Yeah, disrespect.
Nasruddin Imavov okay, so we're gonna go. 2 of us are on BSD. Dan's on Moicano. Next fight, co-main event: Nasruddin Imavov versus Brendan Allen. This fight feels like it's happened before.
I don't think it has.
Common opponents.
They have. They have had many of the same opponents. For me personally, I'm going to go Allen unanimous decision. I think that if you doubled Allen's IQ and it became 40, he could become the UFC champion. But he is dumb as a box of rocks. Guy is all oatmeal north of the eyebrows. I don't know whether to make heads or tails with him. He could easily take down Imavov, finish him, submit him. First round, second round. He's that good at wrestling and jiu-jitsu. But knowing Brendan Allen, he's probably going to try to stand up, strike with him. He was getting in a fight at a casino during a PFL fight. Dana White said it was the most exciting fight of the night, more than likely.
With Marvin Vittori, who is the other dumbest guy.
Yeah.
Like, just combined brain cell count of 4. Over under 4. I mean, those are the two dumbest fucking guys in the middleweight division. Brendan Allen and fucking what's his name? And you got Mr. Crystal's Jared Cannonier in that division, and you got Sean Strickland in that division. So what does that fucking tell you? Like, that is the dumbest division. But middleweight, middle IQ, middle to low IQ. You know what I mean? It's like those guys are all very dumb. But
if you gave Allen a brain, like he has all of the skills to be the greatest fighter in the UFC. He is amazing everywhere. He just doesn't know when to use what, where. He tries to box Sean Strickland, gets knocked out. Tries to box Chris Curtis, gets knocked out. When easily he could have taken either. Sean Strickland doesn't have a knee. He doesn't even have a knee. He's or a quad or something like that. He's been very open about this. He is probably the easiest person in the world to take down, knowing that he doesn't have a quad. And, you don't even go for a single takedown against the guy. Brendan Allen, I hope that you start studying up, reading a couple books, learning to read, maybe first. Let's take these baby steps, and then building your fight IQ and playing to your strengths and your opponent's weaknesses, more importantly.
You know what's crazy is that the Chris Curtis fight and the Sean Strickland fight feel so fresh in my mind. It's unbelievable to think that he has racked up 1, 2, 4. He's on a 4-fight win streak since. No, sorry. What am I saying? He's on a 7-fight win streak since the Chris Curtis knockout, including his most recent win against Chris Curtis. I didn't even remember that he rematched Chris Curtis because him getting knocked out by Sean and Chris is so fresh in my mind, right? It's like 7-fight win streak Brendan Allen is on. And that, guys, that's over the last, 3 years. Like he's pretty active. He's relatively.
He's knocking on the door of a title shot. Once we can sort out this Rachmaninoff biz. Oh no, he's at 170, right? So once we can sort out all this Hamzat Chimaev, all this DDP and Sean Strickland business, he'll be right there.
5 out of those 7 wins, I think, are by rear naked choke too. So. I mean, I think that Imavov, when he fought Strickland, yeah, Brendan got finished, but Imavov broke, right? Like he broke. And that was a short notice Sean Strickland, who was snowboarding and drinking beer, or not drinking beer, but snowboarding, I thought he looked great against Roman Doladeze, but a lot of that was size. A lot of that was hit, and it was a majority decision, right? I mean, Roman fought valiantly against a guy he was a little bit outgunned in that fight, right? He finished Jared Cannonier in round 4. Jared Cannonier kind of fades. He's got a lot of muscles for show, not a lot for go later in those 5-round fights. Very impotent in rounds 4 and 5, even in the Israel Adesanya fight, right? Like anytime you stretch him, he's becomes more impotent over time. And I mean, I think that Imavov has some quit in him, and I think Brendan Allen is going to give him a little pick on someone your own size treatment. I think Brendan Allen can probably take him down. I don't know that he can submit him, but I think he can take him down when it counts. And I think if he can just avoid getting into a prolonged striking at distance affair, show me some. I want to see some stats. I'll have to watch Stat Diggers for this, but I want to see some stats around distance strikes landed. Shout out to Uncle Weezy, by the way. I sent you guys that text I sent you guys about Merab was straight from Uncle Weezy. He said, Sugar Sean is going to face more takedowns in this fight than he's faced his entire career. And that was true. And that is one of the things that led me to Merab, besides all the talk about, just the voodoo in the air of sorts, right? But I'm going to go with Brendan Allen.
I thought Merab was going to be trying to get that 25K, looking for the Easter eggs so bad that he was going to get distracted and knocked out. I really was concerned. Sugar Sean plays video games. Merab will easily get overstimulated. I thought the sphere was going to be too much.
But that's the thing, Alex. If video games don't catch Merab's eye to play them, then the bright colors don't catch his eye. You see what I'm saying? The Sugar Sean is the one who things catch his eye. He can't look away, And Merab was very distracted. 15 seconds into the fight, he's yelling at Herb Dean because of Tim Welch. That was crazy, by the way. We didn't even talk about that. That was fucking nutty.
Sean should have went in for the kill.
Getting up and smiling when there was still time. But in hindsight, that really wasn't his fault because Herb Dean said, hey, stop it. Because he was kissing him. And he thought he meant stop it. The round is over. So, we didn't talk about this. Herb Dean, shit job as a referee. When I'm coming out of a card going, Chris Taglioni's my new favorite ref because he didn't fucking stop Ronaldo Rodriguez from in that first round. Chris Taglioni, my new favorite fucking ref for that. Then, meanwhile, you got who's my least favorite ref. I call him Shrek. I say he's got Velcro shoes. He's an old man. What he did to Matt Schnell was criminal. Then you got Herb Dean, worst reffing performance of all time. Anik, Rogan, they all agreed, man. They all agreed. They were like, what is he doing? It's the 5th round. Rob's up 4-0. They're on the feet. He's calling for action. Action from fucking who? And also, like, what are you going to do if he doesn't? You going to take a point away for what? This isn't wrestling.
Passivity. It is a rule. It's a rule. It's a rule.
But who's passive?
Merab.
It's like Sugar's passive too. Get to him, hit him. What are you doing? Like, no, I thought that was a criminal ref job by Herb Dean.
It was almost as bad as Mark Smith yelling at Arichi Lang to get his feet, or that's his name, right? Arichi Lang, his feet and hands out of the cage when he don't speak no English. So I hear like yelling these instructions to this guy who doesn't speak English, and you're wondering why he's not responding at all. So you have to start smacking his hands and feet in the cage. It's insanity in there. They have no idea what they're doing. And Charez with that spinning elbow, he's holding the cage, standing up, wobbled for 5 seconds to get this spinning back elbow off. And, we isolate the clip of him getting the back elbow off, but not him holding himself up on the cage with his fingers laced inside. It's just insanity.
And how about Mark Not So Goodard, who will stop a fight on the fucking feet, will stop the Colby Covington versus Leon fight early, will stop the fucking Israel Adesanya versus Pereira fight early, but then doesn't stop Ortega when he's fucking doing the chicken dance, getting pieced up 5 times over. Crazy. So I don't like refs that have an opinion, And I seen Mark Goddard congratulate fighters too much after the fight, a little bit too much. You got to be a little bit more nonpartisan, a little bit more disinterested third party. You know what I mean?
You got to be like Chris Taglioni and tell somebody how bad they got knocked out
it's like,
right after the fact.
He's sitting there saying great fight to some chick in some regional promotion. He's like, great fight, lass, great fight. After when she's getting like stitched up, it's like, how do you
that was a dude.
How do you know it was a great fight? You shouldn't be looking at it from that perspective. It's like when a commentator says, I didn't really score the fight because I'm kind of talking about it live from an entertainment perspective and just trying to watch it and report on what I'm seeing. Same with refs. They should be like, yeah, I don't really have favorite moments because I'm not looking for that. I'm looking to keep the fighters safe, and I'm looking to, I'm looking at it time, fouls. I'm not looking at it from the perspective of entertainment. He's always looking at it from the perspective of entertainment, So, shame on you, Mark Goddard. I'm going, with Brendan Allen, like I said, but I like Imavov's style and skill set and cerebralness a little bit better. I just think that Brendan Allen's got a little bit more heart, and his days of kind of making bad decisions and getting knocked out like he did with Strickland and Curtis are behind him. He's got a lot to lose. He's on a big streak here. I think that he's going to be able to get the Frenchman down and win a decision and frustrate him as far as the range striking goes. But if he plays into that game, he will get knocked the fuck out because Imavov is the Russian sniper. He is very good. But I don't like his loss to Phil Halls. I don't like his loss to Sean Strickland. I don't even like his fight against Roman Dolidze. I think he's going to have different things to deal with in this Brendan Allen fight. And I think this is Brendan Allen's time in more ways than one. He'll still make a mistake after the fight is over. He'll still call out like, you know what I mean? He'll fumble the fucking post-fight interview and not get a title shot off this for sure. But Brendan Allen's my pick. What do you think, Dan?
I think that was a long rant for someone to be wrong. I'm going with Nasruddin Imavov. I just think in this matchup in particular, speed kills.
Yeah.
I think Imavov's way faster. I think I respect his takedown defense, which I think has only gotten better. He's at like 75%. I just looked at the stats. Someone brought up, taking on someone your own size. Well, his last 2 fights are Jared Cannonier and Roman Dolidze, like the biggest guys in the division.
No, Roman Dolidze is not big. Don't let Anthony Smith fucking fool you, dude. Roman
Well,
Dolidze.
he's got big guy aura, even if maybe he's not.
Oh, you saw the fight. It looked like a dog and a horse fight.
He got destroyed.
No, that's what I'm saying. He looked like a dog compared to a horse. He was way smaller than him, you know?
No, Dolidze he was at least comparable. He wasn't way smaller than Mavov. What are you talking about? I don't remember that. I mean, maybe.
I'm gonna pull up some imagery from that fight. Hold
Pull
on.
up some imagery.
Right, continue.
But yeah, I don't think Brendan Allen is taking down Imavov. I think one of the bigger flaws of Imavov has been the cardio, which he seems to have conquered. He's been going long distances now. The speed's still there. The pop is still there. I think he's way cleaner of a striker. And I think, what is he? Is he the favorite? Do we know the odds? Whatever the odds are. I don't care if he's plus 500. The pick is Imavov.
All right. So that's 2 for Allen, 1 for Mavov. Same as the fight before. Next up, we got the most handsome man in the UFC, William Gomis, versus Joe Anderson Burrito.
You know what? I think a lot of it was just the fact that Roman Dolidze was balding and Mavov had a full head of hair.
I looked up the imagery and I was like, you were off. You're a little off.
I have one good screenshot here, but I can't figure out how to find you guys. Oh, it's because I'm doing it on the same tab as the. Here we go. Hold on. Yeah, this is the screenshot that I have here. It's not working. Forget it.
It isn't even worth it. Yo Anderson Burrito versus Gomis. Dan, how do you see this one?
I'm liking Brito here big time. This is a matchup where maybe Gomis might be a little bit faster, but what is he doing quicker? He's jabbing and moving. I feel like Brito will definitely get to the point of attack at some point in this fight. Even if Gomis is successful at keeping him at bay, at some point Brito's going to come home, and I don't think Gomis can withstand that. I think Brito is an amazing finisher. Got good cardio. I think he's got all the weapons in the world and all the power in the world to get it done on enemy turf. I believe he's a minus 280 favorite. Completely justified in my mind. Give me Joe Anderson Brito.
Yeah, I'm going Burrito as well, as much as I love William Gomis, and I do think he has a high ceiling. I just think this is a little too much, a little too quick. Burrito is going to get on the inside, change levels a ton, keep him guessing, and end up TKOing Gomis. If this goes to decision, I could see this as a cook in the book scenario and Gomis getting it done by split, but I'm going to lean Burrito. I think that he can finish it inside the distance.
Yeah, I mean, Burrito finished Chepe Mariscal. He beat Diego Lopez. He finished Andre Feely. He finished Jack Shore. Gave Jack Shore his first loss at the time. I think Burrito is definitely the more seasoned kind of, he's got one loss in the UFC, and it's to Bill Algeo by decision, who is kind of a longer fighter, tall fighter, does that kind of kick game, bladed stance, something that I think Gomis could kind of learn from and imitate some of the success he had here. But I just don't see Gomez knocking him out. He's had some fights like the Frankie Marshall fight, split decision, the John Edwards fight, majority decision. Only finishes against Giannis Gamori, who is pretty good, but that's another French guy, right? So doesn't have to really worry about, I think, some of the other things that Brito brings to the table in terms of like being short, stocky, low center of gravity, stronger, picks him up, takes him down if need be, pushes him up against the cage, more cage control, more power, but also with a submission ability. I could see Brito putting in some of the better moments on the ground while also keeping him guessing on the feet. It was a doctor stoppage due to a cut on the shin with the Jack Shore thing. I forgot about that. But yeah, Jonathan Pierce, pretty good too, JSP. So yeah, I think that you got to go with Brito over the strength of schedule. But I agree with you, Alex, that it could end up looking like a kind of like Gomez staying on the outside, outpointing him. Brito not getting him to the ground. A lot of time up against the cage with not very much damage, and Gomez having a little bit more volume. But I'm going to go with Brito as well. Don't love the odds, but yeah, I think that this will be a big test for William Gomez. I like both fighters, but I'm going to have to side with you guys. Triple B certified, Joanderson, Barrito. I got to take a PB.
All right. Next up, we've got Faraz Ziam versus Matt Frivola. I'll take this one first. I think Frivola is just the more well-rounded fighter here. And we saw in Ziam's fight, his last fight, that he doesn't really have much of a ground game whatsoever. I'm going to go with Frivola here. I am a little worried that he has fallen in love with his hands a little too much and that he might not go to the wrestling. That would be the easiest path to victory in this matchup, and end up getting himself into some trouble on the feet with Ziam. He's a bit of a sniper, but I'm going to go with Frivola. I am a little concerned, but I think he just has more tools to win. Dan, what do you think?
I like Ziam here. I've been a fan of Frivola since OG days. Once we started this podcast, I was like, man, this guy, he may not be getting the best wins in the world, but he's damn entertaining both in wins and losses. I like Ziam here because, as you said, he is a sniper. He operates from the outside. I think he has really good lateral movement, which will cause a lot of problems for Frivola, who's a big-time power puncher going for the head. But not super technical. I think Ziam is way more competent in that regard, and just super long. Like he's going to use his length to his advantage here. He's built like a string bean, which maybe in certain situations in life hasn't been advantageous to him being a string bean and all. But I think in this fight it will. So good for Ziam. I think he's going to get the win. He started off as a dog, slight dog, but. It looks like money is coming in on him. He's now like a minus 108 to Frivola's minus 112, something like that. But give me for us Ziam.
I wonder if it's because anybody saw Frivola at AJ's during Memorial Day or Labor Day weekend. Maybe that had a little bit of a flip in money. It's a bar a club in Seaside Heights. Okay, Jersey Shore territory. All right, well, we'll just take over the next one while we're waiting on Lukey. This is going to be my fight of the night. I think this is going to be the most exciting fight of the night, the closest fight of the night. Two of the guys that I think have the most upside on this card. Kevin Jussier versus Brian Pooh Bear battle.
But real quick. I'll take Faraz Ziam against Matt Frivola. I think Matt Frivola is impressive, especially in his last couple. He got knocked out by Benoit Saint-Denis, but he's a little bit older here, 7 years older, sacrificing a lot of reach and height. Definitely could get it done, but this isn't his moment. Too stale coming off 10-month layoff. Meanwhile, Faraz Ziam was in there against Claudio Puelles, who's not very impressive at all, but I don't know. Something tells me Faraz Ziam can avoid the power and outpoint Matt Frivola, take him into deeper waters, and get a win by decision.
I agree.
Is that will be certified?
No. Frivola for Alex.
Yeah, I see what Alex is thinking here. Faraz Ziam is just a little bit too much he looks too much like a pussy. I'm looking at their Tapology pictures. Frivola looks like a man. Ziam looks like a little pussy. But I'm going to go against that and just go with age. 7 years, 155, faster, more technical. This should be not too hard for him if he plays his cards right.
Ziam never been knocked out.
If this were a boxing match, who would you pick?
Ziam.
Alex, if this was a boxing match, who would you pick?
Ziam.
It will be a boxing match. It will be a kickboxing match.
I mean, he outstruck Jai Herbert. I think Jai Herbert's a pretty good kickboxer. So
Yeah, I think that if it was with big gloves, this would be easy. This is like Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury in a lot of ways. Like, yeah, you got a power guy. It's like what Tyson Fury said. If I can't beat a guy with just a solid right hand, I don't deserve to be boxing. You know what I mean? It's like, I think Ziam is just better decision maker, better striker. But Frivol does have that power, does have that dog in him, will bite down and go for it. But he's been knocked out, you know what I mean, a few times. And by worse strikers than Ziam.
Fair enough.
That was a good point by me. If this was a boxing match, who would you take? That was a good point. All right, so you guys are talking Kevin Jussier versus Brian Battle. Ooh, really sneaky good fight. Really interesting fight here.
Yeah, I think these are two future top 10 fighters in their respective division. What are they at 170? Yeah, I could see both of these guys working their way into the top 10 in the future of their career. Sucks that they had to get matched up this early. This is going to be a tough fight for both of them. I'm going to take Brian Battle just because he's a little bit more well-rounded. I don't really feel comfortable with that pick. Like I said, I think both of these dudes have super high ceilings. I think that they're both going to end up being contenders and that they both have really good skill sets. But I think Brian Battle has just been a little bit more battle tested, no pun intended, had some tougher fights in there, has a more diverse skill set, and will be able to get it done.
Completely agree with you. It's a sketchy fight. It's not sketchy, but it's going to be a close fight. Going to be a tough test for Brian Battle, but he has really impressed me in all of his fights. I mean, even the loss to Hinat Fakhretdinov, 20-2, put Kevin Lee, where does he fit into all this? He put him away easily. He's got a 5-1 UFC record compared to 2-0 for Jussier, and fought his way through the Ultimate Fighter house to win the Ultimate Fighter, then beat Treson Gore, right after, who was supposed to be the fight he fought in the finale. Beat Andre Petrovsky, finished Andre Petrovsky. He was beating the shit out of Lusa, and he did something that I admire so much, which is he got mad. And that's what I've been talking about at the beginning of this episode. He wants to win, doesn't want to lose, wants to be here, is competitive, cares, invests in himself, trains hard, shows up better each time. And what did he say when Lusa bitched out? He said, "I was whooping his ass." I love it. He was ready to fight right there. That was the shit. Brian Battle I'll be a forever fan for him. I'm going with him. I'm going to ride with him here.
I'll go with Brian Battle as well. I like the fact that he was beating Angelusa's ass, and then shortly thereafter, Angelusa, I forget who he fought, but he put on a real good performance. It's like, man, that performance by Brian Battle aged very well. He seems to be really having a super high trajectory in his career, gets better every fight. Jussier, he's a highly touted prospect, I suppose, but I don't think he was all that highly touted coming out of whatever organization he was before the UFC. I think he just put on a couple good performances, but I got to go with Brian Battle here. Great chin, has some power, jiu-jitsu, cardio. Like, he's checking off all the boxes for me, and more of a veteran than Jussier. So I think it all adds up for Brian Battle.
And we thought Lusa was going to be a tough test, breaking that down, before that fight happened. And Brian Battle was making it look easy before Lusa quit. And, Lusa did shortly try to fight him after he said he could not fight because he couldn't see. So kind of crazy how that one works. But Brian Battle's the man.
Okay. Next, we got Morgan Charrier versus Gabriel Miranda. Gabriel Miranda looking like, with that mustache and that stance, looking like an old-timey boxing poster. Morgan Charrier coming off a loss to Chepe Mariscal by split decision. Before that, he knocked out Manuel Zanecki. Before that, Pete Diego Silva finished him in Cage Warriors. He's the Cage Warriors champ. Gabriel Miranda submitted Shane Young. Shane Young, we've always faded Shane Young. Complete head case, basket case. 34 versus 28. Tall Gabriel Miranda. Oh, but 10 losses for Morgan Charrier, right? What do you guys think about this one?
Well, wasn't Miranda the guy who beat your boy? Lacerda? Or is that Victor Altamirano? Or did they both?
Yeah, I mean, Miranda he's a featherweight, but no, I don't see a fight against Lacerda for Miranda.
Okay.
But Lacerda's had like 7 names. Maybe he is, and maybe he's like Fabio Diaz or something. I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with Charrier by KO. Quicker, faster, younger, hungrier. A lot of experience for his age. Fear a young veteran in a sport where people die young. Is that the next line?
And let's take into account, right? Yeah, he's got 10 losses. One of them is by finish, and it was a submission. He's got a split decision loss early in his career, then a unanimous decision loss when he was 6-3. Okay, unanimous decision loss when he's 9 to put him at 9-4. Then against Ruslan Kazmarazov, who's like a Bellator PFL guy, majority decision loss to him. Split draw, majority decision loss, split decision loss, majority decision loss, split decision loss. I mean, he's got 9 decision losses here, 11 knockouts, 3 submissions himself, only 1 loss recorded by submission. And it was a long time ago. Was it a long? Yeah, it was a long time ago. I'm going to go with Charrier as well. He beat William Gomis. He submitted him back when he was 7-4 and Gomis was 2-1.
I'm a Morgan Charrier fan myself. I'm going to Triple P certify this pick. I thought maybe I wasn't watching too intently, but I thought he won his last fight. I thought I got robbed. Maybe I was a little biased, but he looks to be really good to me. Powerful, just built like a brick shit house. Coming forward, yet defensively responsible. Seems like he's got a really good IQ for the octagon. So I'll take my boy Morgan Charrier getting back on the win column, back on the horse.
Perfect. Triple B certified Morgan Charrier. I hope we get some good odds on him. Aline Perez versus Daria Zelensakrov. Man, cutie patootie fight, man. Cutie patootie fight.
I'm going with Perez. That's my Splash Daddy Sensei pick of the night. I think the Goat Shed's doing some good things down there. I'm going to go with Aline Perez. I think she is going to win this fight by decision. Shocker.
Agreed. Going with Perez as well.
I'm going with. Oh, sorry. I thought you were done there. Go ahead.
Well, no. I mean, the other girl got knocked out 2 years ago by Melissa Mullins. That's her only loss, but that was before the UFC, and since then she's had only 1 fight in the UFC against Montserrat Rendon, an aging fighter. Took her to a decision. I think Aline Perez is just too seasoned in the UFC at this point. I don't think she has to fear the submission game of the Iron Lady, and I think that she's going to be able to just kind of control this fight. I'm going with Perez.
I think Perez is overrated. I think we're getting too much of a dose of these gimmick fighters. We talked about Rosas Jr. I think, we got the twerk gimmick going on in this
Dumont works. Guess what? She fucking laid a beat down on the Mexican lady. So
Aldana, yeah. Still think I'm going to go with Daria. This is also a gut feeling type deal. We're 2 weeks out, so count on me to do any tape study on this previous to it. Not there yet, but I will get there. But as a gut feeling, I feel like Perez isn't going to be able to bully Daria. And, one of the few dogs on this card will be a lady fight. Shocker at plus 200.
All right. Next, we got Daniel Barres versus Victor Altamirano. He did knock out Daniel Lacerda, Alex. That's who you're probably thinking of. 35-year-old 125-pounder versus a 33-year-old 125-pounder. 5'6" versus 5'8". Barres is going to be shorter, but will sacrifice 4 inches of reach here. Coming out of Spain, trains at the Entram gym, which I believe, I think. Let me see who else is out there. Somebody else note. Oh, Turbo Perez, Michael Morales. He's really good, 17-0. I'm going Polo Reyes. I'm going with Barres here. He lost his UFC debut a year ago. Meanwhile, I just think that Altamirano is just kind of impotent. You know what I mean? He's not a potent striker. I think that Barres maybe can beat him here. He's got knockout wins, he's got submission wins. He's only lost by submission. I don't think that's going to come into play here against Altamirano. So give me Barres to win in a striking affair with him landing more damaging shots. Hey, Spain conquered Mexico for a reason. There's a reason there's a reason all the Mexicans are speaking Spanish now. You know what I mean? So let's see if he can do it again.
I agree. Never been super impressed with Altamirano. Seems like his Taekwondo techniques are not translating very well to the UFC. For that reason, I'm out. Going with Barres. In on Barres.
Give me Victor Altamirano. Stronger strength of competition. I think that Barres is a little bit of a hammer and not a nail. We saw that a bit in the Rafael Filau fight. Granted, it was on short notice. He came out super strong, looked good in the first minute and a half, 2 minutes, and then started to fade and found himself on the end of a first round finish, arm triangle by Filau. I'm going to go with Altamirano here. I think that he's a little bit more durable. He's going to be there all 3 rounds. This guy is a little bit finish reliant. He's only won 2 fights by decision in his career. Every other fight that's went the distance for him, he lost. So I'm going to have to rely on what my eyes showed me in his last fight, and my lying eyes have deceived me in the past. But I think this guy, if he gets taken into deep water, is going to give up, and Victor Altamirano is going to be there later in the fight and be able to get the finish.
All right, this next fight is very interesting to me. Omar Sy versus Da Woon Jung. Now, Da Woon Jung is coming off back-to-back losses. 2 of 3, getting beaten every single way you can get beat, right? He got knocked out by Justin Jacoby 2 years ago. Then he fought Devin Clark, got beat by decision against a guy who's got 7 losses of his own. Then he got finished by 8-1 Carlos Ulberg a year ago. Hasn't fought since. Meanwhile, this other guy, Omar Sy, has made an exciting debut 3 months ago, submitting Tuco Tucos 3 months ago. 6'4", 83-inch reach. He's going to have a 5-inch advantage in reach over Jung. Similar height, though. We saw a fight like this on the Contender Series recently, where a Korean top team guy, a guy is against this big, hulking, athletic guy who's a first-round finisher, right? A guy who's literally never even seen the second round. And heavy favorite was the first-round finisher guy who looks more formidable, looks tougher. And the South Korean guy goes out there and just puts on a clinic, a very, cerebral, technical, boring kind of style, but just gets it done, gets the decision, makes it look easy, just drags him into deep waters, gets him out of that first round, and just made it seem like, why the hell was I ever the underdog? I could see that history kind of repeating itself here, because Da Woon Jun is kind of in a place where he's fighting for his job here, right? A lot to lose, a lot to gain. Omar Sy has never lost. He's never tasted defeat. He's expected to win here. He's from Paris, France. He's the Frenchman. He's fighting in France. He's undefeated. He's bigger. He looks tougher. You know what I mean? He's fighting a guy coming off back-to-back losses. It makes all the sense in the world that the pressure would kind of get to him. If he doesn't get it done in the first round, suddenly what happens? Most powerful element in the art of war, the element of surprise. He's surprised. I'm surprised he's still here. I've never seen this before. And Woon Jun kind of wins a decision. I could see Woon Jun winning a decision. If he's a huge underdog, I will sprinkle Woon Jun by decision. But the pick will be Umar Sy. I'm going with just what I think is going to happen, which is that he puts Woon Jun away, similar to the way that Jacoby did, just with a knockout. But Umar Sy, 4 wins by he does have 2 decision wins, right? But they were against Bartolomej Gladowski and Paulin Bigai, a 2-0 fighter and an 8-2 fighter who is now 10-5 from Poland. I'm going with Umar Sy, but don't be surprised if he doesn't finish him in the first round and it becomes a sweated out kind of fight. If he's a huge favorite, I'd be very nervous, but I'm going with Umar Sy.
I'll take Dr. Umar Sy myself. Big fan of his work in and out of the cage.
You see the concussion guy?
No, I think Dr. Umar is a completely different guy. I think he's
Is that the bet?
Let me look up a picture of him. Let me see if he is who I think he is. But I'm taking Sy. Dan, what are you going with?
Is this Sadabo Sy's brother or something?
I
Guy
think
from PFL?
I think it might be. Are they both at a Bulgarian top team? They train together?
I'm not sure. But if that's the case, then this guy is just going to wrestle Da Woon-jong all night long, or whatever his name is. That's what I expect to happen. So let's go with the Frenchman Omar Sy, not Sadabo Sy, via decision. I think our Korean friend will put up a good fight, but he will lose valiantly. Honor. Judge's decision.
Yeah, it looks like they are brothers. I don't know, actually. No, I don't know. I can't tell. Yeah, cool. So trophy certified Sy. Next, interesting matchup, Kutalaba versus UFC newcomer Ivan Erslan. Ivan Erslan is light heavyweight out of Croatia. Ian Kutalaba has 10 losses, lost 4 of his last 5, including getting submitted by Ryan Spann, submitted by Johnny Walker, knocked out by Kennedy and Chukwi. He knocked out Tanner Bozer and then lost a decision 6 months ago to Felipe Lins. If you look at Ivan, he's 32. He is the number 3 pro light heavyweight out of Europe. He's got 10 knockout wins, 1 loss by decision, 1 loss by submission, 1 loss by knockout. Most recently, he lost in 2023, about a year ago, by knockout to Hafal Haratic, the Polish tank, 19-5 Polish fighter, who is ranked number 1 in Europe out of 500 pro light heavyweights. Interesting fight. I got to pick Kutalaba just off of strength of schedule, just off of the fact that I've picked him against much better opponents. I picked him 7 times against Magomed Ankalaev. So how am I not going to pick him here? Just because this guy's the number 1 light heavyweight out of Croatia. I think that it's definitely not surprising if this guy comes in like a bat out of hell as the number 1 light heavyweight out of Croatia, the number fucking 8 or so, or number 3 light heavyweight in all of Europe. Comes in here, Polish power, eats everything Kutalaba has to offer, and beats the piss out of him. I'm going with Ivan Erslan. What am I saying? I mean, I don't know. How many times can I keep smacking my head against the same wall? How many times is it before it's just the definition of insanity, expecting this guy to come in and I do want to pick Ian Kutalaba.
We know you want to.
I feel like if I don't pick him, he's gonna win. If I do pick him, he's gonna lose. So
I get that feeling too.
You know what I mean? I knew he was gonna beat Tanner Bozer, but it's a really, really, really fucking tough. thing to, I gotta watch some tape. I guess
It's tough being an Ion Cutelaba fan.
it's tough being an Ion Cutelaba fan. When you look at his face, his eyes, you just really do see greatness. You see somebody who wants to fucking win. I think some of those times that the Ankalaev fight got called out, some of those times he would have won. He just happened to fight Ankalaev the couple times that weren't those times. You know what I mean?
He's like 1 in his last 7.
How many times has he been knocked out?
He's putting up BJ Penn numbers.
He's only been knocked out 3 times. He's been submitted 4 times. It doesn't seem like this guy is going to fucking and one of those 3 knockout losses was the fluky knockout loss, against Ankalaev. So he's 6-9 in the UFC. That's still 15 fights in the UFC. I'm going with Ion Cutelaba. UFC newcomers lose at a rate of 66%. This guy's Polish. Yeah, I mean, he can definitely beat Ion Cutelaba with some Polish power and knock him the fuck out. But if Ion comes in here like he needs to win this and does some wrestling moves, the Moldovan can get this one done via the wrestling, via the power, via the onslaught of the TKO ground and pound type shit. Going with Ion Cutelaba, but man, not confident in it. And interested to see how this one plays out. It'll be fun to watch no matter what, I think.
I am also going Ion Cutelaba.
15 fights in the UFC. Come on.
When Luke started taking Ivan there, it made me feel a lot better about my Ion Cutelaba pick because Luke is never on the right side of Ion Cutelaba. But I think Iwan's going to be able to win this one. Just way more experience. If you're losing this much on your regional scene and then you're coming into the UFC, it's going to be some tough trudging for you because as you can see, a guy like Ion Cutelaba, who is as tough as they come, he's struggling, right? He's 1-7 in his last 7, I believe. So I'm going with Ion Cutelaba. I think that this is a good matchup for him. I think that it's a great opportunity for him to win. I don't know who his manager is and how he's still in the UFC, but I would love to put him on retainer for something. Anytime I'm in contract disputes, I would like him to be my representative. Dan, what do you think?
We'll go with Ion Cutelaba, Triple P certified, our boy here. I think that if this new guy were all that good, he wouldn't be the opening underdog against a guy like Ion Cutelaba, who has such a bad reputation. Like Luke said, listen, I don't want to diss our guy. He has some really good skills. He could wrestle. He's got power. He can throw with volume. And he's game as they come. So there are some things that we can work with here. But again, the reputation is shot to hell because in the past he's made some boneheaded decisions and, been fake knocked out or whatever that was against Ankalaev. And yeah, some weird losses there. So I would think that the newcomer, whatever his name is, would probably be a favorite if he was, anywhere near as competent as Cutelaba. So all that to say, I think Cutelaba is the play here.
All right, next Trophy certified Ion Cutelaba. Bolagioki versus Chris Duncan. Chris Duncan, to me, very unimpressive in his UFC tenure, right? Like, comes in off the Contender Series with a split decision win against Omar Morales, who is not even in the promotion anymore. Then he was able to get a decision win against Yanel Ajmus, who I believe, isn't that the guy that just fought Trevor Peek?
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right, that's kind of decent, but I think that's just like, I don't know, his American Top Team time preventing him from getting taken down by Ajmus and just being able to kind of like, I remember it being kind of a
he
close
broke
fight.
Ashmus's arm in that fight with a kick, and Ashmus wasn't the same after the first round. Ashmus had a really good first round, I believe, and then his arm was broken and he couldn't really throw it.
Makes sense. Okay. Then he gets absolutely steamrolled by Manuel Torres. Meanwhile, you could say the same about Bolagioki in that he comes in off the Contender Series pretty hot, but has a pretty lackluster performance against Timothy Kwamba. Split decision win. What do you do here, right? I go with I fade Chris Duncan. I'm going to go. It's kind of like I think Chris Duncan has the better pedigree. Is probably going to come in here really hungry to get a win. But I'd love to see the line on this, but I'm going to go with Oki for now. I just don't really have that much respect for Chris Duncan.
I have respect for Chris Duncan. I'm going to take him in this matchup. Very technical fighter. I think pretty tough. You know, he's probably got hit right on the
Stiff as a
button.
board. That's my main takeaway. He's stiff as a board.
He's a little stiff, but I like that he's paying attention to the fundamentals and trying to do it the right way. So Chris Duncan is going to have my pick. As you said, the ATT guy. So he's training with the best. He's he's on the best supplements, legal. But yeah, why not? Let's go with Chris Duncan.
In the words of Baby Keem, okay. I'm going with Oki on this one. I just hate Chris Duncan. Chris Duncan's ass. If there's no Leroy in that Duncan, get him out of here as far as I'm concerned. I'm going with homeboy Okie dokie artichoke. What do we got next, Lukey?
Ludwig Klein versus Roosevelt Roberts.
Easiest fight on the card. Ludwig Klein submission, emphatically. First round submission, Ludwig Klein. It will be the easiest pick of the night, and it's probably going to be plus 600, plus 800. First round submission, Ludwig Klein. Lock it in, take it to the bank, sell your house, sell your kids' possessions, and put it all on Ludwig Klein first round submission.
Alex, you're completely wrong. He's not going to win by submission. He's going to win by knockout. That's my pick.
Okay.
I'm going with Ludwig Klein too, emphatically. I don't know how he does it, but I do know he does it. He's beaten guys that have beaten Roosevelt Roberts, including Ignacio Bahamundes. He lost to Nate Landwehr in round 3. He lost a decision to Mike Trezano.
Who wouldn't lose in a round 3 to Nate Landwehr? And don't say that one really bad fighter that beat him in a decision, his first fight in the UFC.
Yeah, and then you got, I think Roosevelt Roberts was losing every second of the Bahamundes fight before getting knocked out in the third with like 10 seconds left. That was 3 years ago. He got kicked out of the UFC after that and beat a 20-11 guy by knockout 2 years ago, beat a 21-10 guy by decision 2 years ago. And then 10 months ago, got submitted with an armbar by Mateusz Rebecki. Did he break his arm? Why has he been so inactive in this time off? He's tall, but that's only going to make Ludwig Klein have an easier chance of getting the takedown. He also missed weight against the Rebecki fight by 2 pounds. So I think this is the easiest fight on the card. 97% of Tapology agrees with us. I see it as an impossibility for Roberts to win. So anything south of minus 500, I'm betting everything on Klein. Who is also prepared to fight Nicholas Mata. Mata withdrew. So Klein was also prepared for a fight against a much more dangerous opponent than Roosevelt Roberts. And Roberts is coming into another country on short notice. Not going to go well for him, I don't believe. All right. Last, we got Nora Wonder Cornole versus Jackie the Nightmare Cavalcante. Portuguese zone, who's coming off a split decision win against Josie Nunes. And Josie Nunes is the girl that I was talking about who, is always doing those David versus Goliath matchups. She's had some good knockout wins. She's a power puncher. She would have finished, what's her name? That was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, this is the girl. So this girl got punched in the eye by Josie Nunes and called her own foul and said it was an eye poke and probably would have been finished by Josie Nunes. Meanwhile, Nora Cornole KO'd Melissa Mullins 5 months ago. It looks like Jackie.
These guys fought each other before. Cavalcante is Cornholio's only loss, one of them. And it was her first fight. It was her first ever fight, Cornholio.
Interesting. Well, she's 34. She's 7 years older. Going to be sacrificing 3 inches of reach. I don't see a reason why this one goes any differently, except unless these are ladies. She fought 2 weeks ago, so she could come in, be having the flu, bad flight, boyfriend broke up with her, bloated.
And Flo is in town.
And if she just fought 2 weeks ago and now it's 2 weeks later,
odds are,
yeah, it seems like This is the first. Yeah, honestly. Yeah, I mean, it does kind of seem like this is Cavalcante's fight to lose, and that Coronoli kind of said, yeah. I mean, she's not in a position to say no war. Yeah, she's the first fight on the prelims of a fucking card in her home country, and probably doesn't get to even really, get a lot of opportunities to fight. The UFC probably saves her for some of these cards.
Well, she was originally slated for Juraine Durandamy, which is a huge step up in competition compared to Cavalcante.
Is she though? Juraine Anime is 40 years old.
Yeah, but she looked great in her last fight with Norma Dumont. She was piecing Norma Dumont up on the feet, just got taken down a couple times. She represented herself well.
And other than that, she just has 2 losses to Amanda Nunes, a loss to Julia Budd. Yeah, if there's a big, if there's a lot of money to be made on betting Nora Cornioli, I might.
I'm betting Nora Cornioli. Personally.
I'm picking Nora Cornioli too, because it doesn't really fucking matter that she's 34 in the women's weight class. Women as they get older, I think they get testosterone. So,
and she's looking like she's a different type of girl. She's not like the other girls.
Yeah. I could see her hurting Jackie in the same way that Josie did a little early. I think this is a money play for Cavalcante, a less to lose kind of situation. Like, I took it on short notice. That little voice in your head when you take something on short notice and that the UFC kind of owes you one. That little voice in your head doesn't say fight on, fight hard. Especially when you already beat this girl once. It's like you have this little voice in your head that's like, whatever, we're 1-1. It's like, it's not taking away from you, right? So, yeah, I'll go with Cornole, too. Doesn't make much sense. I hope she's a big underdog, and I'll go with her.
Give me Cornole, Triple P certified on a lady fight. We're into dangerous territory here, fellas. But you know what? I'm going to be the guy to pull the trigger on it. Let's go. Cornole, Triple P.
Cornole, give me the Formiole. All right. With that, let us do our full card rundown for everybody here, early for everybody here, and you will catch some great advantages over all of the sleeping football betting folks in the next few weeks. So if you're going with me, you're going with BSD, you're going with Brendan Allen, you're going with Anderson Brito, you're going with Faraz Ziam, you're going with Brian Battle, Morgan Shari, Elaine Perez, Daniel Barres, Omar Sy, Ian Kutalaba, Bolaji Oki, Ludovic Klein, lock of the card, LK for lock, and we're not allowed to say lock apparently, so I believe in it. This is a joke show. And Nora Corniole, Raviole, give me the Corniole. Gamble responsibly. We don't even exist. We're not real. All odds subject to change. And
we don't have to say any of that. We do not have any gambling sponsorships. That is the only reason that they have to say those things, I believe. We can advocate for gambling as much as we want, technically. If you're rolling with me, I'm going BSD, Brendan Allen, Joe Anderson Burrito, Matt Frivola, Brian Battle, Morgan Chelier, Perez, Victor Altamirano, Omar Sy, Kutalaba, Oki, Ludwig Klein, submission, first round, lock that in, and Cornioli by split decision.
All right. If we are rolling with me, you got the great Nora Corniole. You got Ludwig Klein by KO. You got Chris Duncan, Scottish King, followed by Ian Kutalaba, a favorite of our show. We got Omar Sy, not to be confused with Sadabo. You got Daniel Barres over Victor Altamirano. We have one of the few dogs on the card for me with Daria Zalesnyakova. followed by another hard name to say, Morgan Charrier. Then finally, a couple fights for the main card. Brian Battle, Faraz Siam, Joe Anderson Brito, Nazardine Imavov, and Renato Moicano.
And it looks to me like, and call it out if one of you guys didn't pick one of these fighters, but it looks to me like the Trophy Certified picks are Joe Anderson Brito, Brian Battle, Morgan Charrier, Daniel Barres, Umar Sy.
Not Daniel Barres.
You picked Altamirano?
Yes, sir.
And Dan, you did not. Yeah, so DB. Okay, cool. Ian Cutelaba, Ludovic Klein, and Nora Corniole.
Omar Sy isn't?
Omar Sy is. So Burrito, Battle, Charrier, Sy, Cutelaba, Klein, and Cornole. Those are our 2, 4, 6, 7 Trophy Certified picks.
Beautiful. I like that, actually. Maybe not Corniole, maybe not Cutelaba, but the rest seem pretty
I like that it's the first two, the middle two, first two of the main card, one in the middle, and then we got two in the two co-main and main are not Trophy Certified. So it's like, if we get all those right, we all got a big stack. We all can go our separate ways during the co-main and main and still have some money to spare afterwards. So good stuff. Thank you all for joining us yet again. We love you very much, and we're here early for you. Share the episode around. Let us know what you think in the comments. We really do. When I'm at work and I see a comment come in, it makes my day. So whether you disagree, whether you agree, give me a comment. Let me know what you are thinking. If you have inside information, if you have information that contradicts what we have said on the show, let us know. Don't just sit there and go, these guys are idiots. Let us know. This is a collaborative effort. Join the Discord. Get in the Discord. We have a lot of fun in that Discord. It's just a continuation of the show every Saturday. We're in there live, having fun, chatting it up. And the Patreon will be back up and running soon. I've kind of forgotten about it, honestly, because they asked me to verify my identity, and I have to get my ID out, take a picture of it. I will do it. I'll get that back up and running. The open bet sheet is the same link. If you need the open bet sheet link and you're a Patreon member, you should already have it. But if you need it, if you deleted your search history for whatever reason and you don't have it anymore, DM me, PPP certified on Instagram. I'll get you that open bet sheet link. Mine is always up to date throughout the fights and before the fights. It has a list of all of our picks that we just gave you, but also what we're betting, how we're betting, how much we're betting. Discord, Patreon, subscribe, like, notifications, comments, all that stuff. If you want, like I said, the comments, I just like them. It's not for the algorithm. I don't care if we get another fan for the rest of our lives. You people who watch this show are our fans, our audience, our family, our friends. Thank you very much. And enjoy the weekend off from the UFC. Alex, enjoy your wedding. Dan, have a great weekend. I'll be going to the Renaissance Festival for the second time, taking the little girls out to the Renaissance Festival, having a good time, drinking some grog, drinking some mead, drinking some witches brews, and looking at all of the freaks. So it's going to be a fun weekend for me. And, if you have any football picks, I'll take them too. So we've rambled long enough. Thank you guys for watching the show. And any parting words, boys?
See you later. I'll miss you, ladies and gentlemen, next week.
Yes, we will miss you, but we'll be back to give our final picks. Maybe it'll be after the weigh-in show or something of that nature. We might just take the next week off since Alex will be out of town, but we'll give you something to chew on, and we'll be back. We love you guys.